This is a video about how a single character can save a concept, and how a smile changed my mind about a franchise.
Oh, vanquished by a gang of ruffians, huh? Silent as gifts.
Uncle Bayek! Uncle Bayek! Hello, Uncle.
Jewels of my life, why have you left your mother's side?
Pick me up, Uncle Bayek!
So let's start with a concept that needs saving, and also acknowledge before we begin that video games are really complicated and boring to make, and they take a really, really long time.
Attain there's 4.
Yes. And I am very dangerous! Hide well!
The Assassin's Creed franchise is built on a single idea: conduct an investigation and kill a big bad Templar. It doesn't matter how complex or simple or tangential or magical the missions become, this is ultimately the goal of every game's story. And there's window dressing of the future and the animus and all kinds of other incidental objects, but ultimately it comes down to investigation and killing. Assassin's Creed Origins does follow this formula as required. You roam Egypt, hunting down the Order and putting them to your blade. Unlike the rest of the franchise, however, Origins exercises a level of self-awareness throughout these quests. The assassination missions are cool, but some of the best parts are the post-death conversations that happen in a strange, dreamlike world where Bayek and his slain foes engage each other in conversation or argument or even mental battle. On top of using the setting's religious beliefs to contextualize a lot of these magical moments, the game finds a way to make its protagonist feel both justified in his killing and damned at the same time.
You could not even save your own son. You are no one. Bayek of nothing, father to nobody!
And here is your nobody! May the Hidden One greet you. The Lord of the Duat awaits.
This is because Origins offers Bayek, its main protagonist, a poignant, tragic impetus for his journey of revenge and blood in the swords and sandals world of Egypt. During the early hours of the game, we see a flashback where Bayek and his son are captured by the Order. Bayek gets the upper hand briefly and wrestles with one of the Order over a knife. A beat later and a shift in position and Bayek falls forward. The blade in his grasp buries into his son's chest.
That is your answer.
It's an immediate, dark reason that turns Bayek from a protector and humorous Medjay into a blood-soaked lunatic. And the game explores the dichotomy of these two identities, playing out similarly to characters like the Punisher. Just as Frank Castle is a man torn between moral centers, Bayek is wrenched between his dead son, his living wife, and his country. While Bayek and his wife Aya are both driven to avenge their son, Aya thinks about life after revenge. The two argue throughout the story on this topic, and it decenters Bayek as the protagonist in a way that's refreshing. We actually get to see the story of two people who love each other, and when they disagree, they work through their differences together. It never comes across as melodramatic because even after arguments, they spend time together and behave like real grown adults. While it's refreshing to play a character as interesting as Bayek, it's truly his status as Medjay that helps Origins do something no other Assassin's Creed title has. Assassin's Creed Origins surprised me. Bayek is a Medjay. Medjay are fairly similar to Geralt's role as a Witcher in the Witcher games, but rather than being an outcast like Geralt, Bayek is treated as a sort of wandering sheriff character. He's a man who represents the humor and kindness AC Syndicate approximated, and the justice AC Unity wished it could execute on. This isn't just through story dialogue, but through the kinds of side missions and activities Bayek can participate in throughout the game. How you interact with Egypt gives you a sense of how this world functions and the kind of person that Bayek is. When you stop to help someone with something small, finding their lost horse, loading barrels into a cart, fetching a letter, Origins offers a delicate glimpse into this world that the other Assassin's Creed wanted but could never quite manage. One mission sees you playing hide and seek with children in a temple. Another is an investigation to discover the root of a potential curse. Another sees Bayek spreading a political message to farmers. And one of my favorites is when Bayek spots a woman on a cliff and just goes to talk to her and stop her from jumping. By allowing the player to help the community in small ways, it becomes increasingly obvious that Origins wants to be different from its predecessors. These are not missions that progress your fight against the Templars like they did in AC Syndicate. The missions in Origins mostly don't end with corpses. A lot of times you get nothing of any value from succeeding, just the knowledge that someone's life is a bit better. In the same way that AC Black Flag set its own tone with sarcasm and swashbuckling, Origins makes its mark by being shockingly earnest. Because nerdy pop culture is saturated with quippy, cynical heroes and snarky villains.
She with you?
I thought she was with you.
But Bayek isn't snarky. He's funny, friendly, and stops on his travels to help other people for the sake of helping.
You have lost a child, so you should understand that a mother's fear never ends.
Nor does a father's rage.
Fear and rage are fair replies to life's fragility. Please, leave me to my tears.
Neb, if you will follow me, we must give her privacy.
Is there anything I can do to ease her?
She has found a ritual protection in an ancient scroll. Only a few ingredients remain to be.
I'll find them.
While it sounds like a small addition to the franchise, it makes all the difference. How games invite us to interact with their worlds, especially RPGs, is how we gain a sense for the space we inhabit. This comes back to a concept discussed by Harris bomerguy, play conditioning. The way a game responds to your input in a game determines how you experience difficulty, and most importantly, how you compose your intention in that game. What we want to focus on is how the game's quests and the way you interact with the world defines how you form your intention to interact. Intent and play conditioning are related by the connective tissue of the game's engine. By example, if you intend to hide a body in a bush without being spotted, you are conditioned to wait for an opening, run up, use the right buttons, dump the body, and slip back into cover. If someone spots you during this intention and execution, you're forced to improvise, changing your intent on the fly. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say is that including such a large breadth and depth of missions in Origins that asks you to help regular people complete regular tasks changes the relationship between the player and intent. After the first few times you complete a menial deed or little job, you start to expect most side quests to be completing these kinds of tasks. Your intent for speaking to quest givers changes. You don't talk to them because you want gold, you talk to them because you want to help. This is a lesson lifted right from The Witcher 3, and Origins is all the better for it. The Witcher sees Geralt helping people for the sake of helping people sometimes, while Origins leans into this idea, allowing the player to decide to help anyone from pharaohs to peasants, not because they need gold or quest for revenge, but because it's the right thing to do, and Bayek believes in doing it. Origins is a game that genuinely believes in itself and its message, not too different from where the franchise started. Tyranny can be overcome by genuine love and community. Bayek's belief that change happens every day directly opposes to Aya's interests in politics and rulers, and it's this divide in their ambitions that causes the ultimate resolution of the story. So the game is even self-aware of this conflict and addresses it in the text. So even if, as a player, you don't especially want to help people, the game's story pays off these themes in a big way. And as an aside before we finish, the tropical areas of the game are beyond good looking, and screenshots never do this game justice. It's a moving watercolor painting, and we might come back to that at some other time. To summarize, Origins cares deeply about its characters and world, and because of this, the developers crafted a game about Bayek, not about a sour teen who seeks revenge, or a womanizing nationalist, or two Marvel protagonists saving London. Origins, instead, asks the player to love a broken, beautiful country, and in the process teaches us that everyday kindness and love is how we mend each other, not through a spring-loaded wrist blade. The antagonist is me, David McNeil. We are edited and produced by Digital and Creative Media Works. To help support us, head to patreon.com/DCMworks. Or if you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on the Assassin's Creed franchise, and if you have any different opinions about the games, I'd love to hear them. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time.